Wow, I don't even know how to start this. It's been so long. Hi, I guess. Hello. Welcome back to this channel. Long time no chat. In case you've forgotten, my name is Elle, and I really like notebooks and journaling, hence this lovely little pile you see before you. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you my 2026 journal setup. But before I do that, I feel I don't have to give you an explanation, but there is a bit of an elephant in the room here, which is that I didn't post for literally all of 2025. So yeah, if you've come back to the channel despite that massive posting gap, thank you. I hope to post more in 2026. I'm not going to commit to like a schedule for that, but I'm just hoping to get back into a place where I'm indulging my creativity more in 2026, and part of that is making YouTube videos. Yeah, 2025 ended up being a year with like a capital Y. Some parts of that are like good. For example, I have 2 rings now. I got married. That's cool. That was very time consuming though, mostly because I decided to plan an entire wedding in the space of like 3 months. ADHD, yay. But yeah, I had a very busy year, basically. Some good things, some bad things. And that made it a bit difficult for me to film videos, basically. Not even film, to be honest. I actually filmed a few videos last year, and then at no point did I have the energy to actually edit them or upload them, for reasons that I will go into later in the video as I flip through some pages of my previous year's journal. Anyway, all of that is to say, sorry I disappeared for a year. I was going through it. I am no longer going through it quite as much. So here I am, ready to talk about journals on the internet again. I have no idea how long this video is going to be. There is a chance that because this is the first time I've filmed a video in like ages, I'm just going to ramble for hours. I mean, hopefully not hours. But, you know, I don't really know what's going to happen now that I've let this beast loose again. The beast being me chatting about journals. This is a weird metaphor. Basically, you can settle in for what will probably be a relatively long chat about journals past and present. You can grab yourself a beverage if you so desire. I have a tea here. In fact, it is white tea, which I've never had before. I got some for Christmas. I'm intrigued. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to drink it. I haven't put milk in or anything. I'm just raw white tea in here. So we'll see how that is. It's going to be a bit awkward if I don't like it, and I'm here showing it on camera. But, you know, it's tea, so I probably will like it. So yeah, get a beverage, get a snack if you need it, and let's talk about journals. I have this lovely stack here of 2 books that I didn't realise until right now are actually quite well colour coordinated. That was not intentional, but here we are. For 2026, I will be using these 2 journals. The first one is a Hobonichi A6 Hon with this beautiful cover. I forget the name of the cover. Probably should have written that down before I started filming, but I didn't. All I know is it's extremely cute. I love woodland. Well, I just love the woods. I love woodland vibes. I love woodland animals. So I saw this and I was like, this is for me. Look at that cute little owl guy. And like the squirrel. And another owl. Like, it's perfect. Oh, goodness. If you can hear any background noises at any point in this video, it's my cat. It's actually my second cat. That's another thing that happened last year. We got a second cat. She was a kitten. We raised her from kittenhood. She's now grown up in body, but not in mind. She is absolutely insane. It's very true, like the stereotype that your first cat is like very calm and peaceful, and then the second cat is just like an absolute gremlin from another planet who tries to destroy everything. She's doing that right now. I don't know what she's destroying, but if you hear noises at any point in this video, it's Clara. That's her name, Clara. And I do absolutely adore her, despite her chaos demon personality. Right, where was I? Clara has interrupted my train of thought. Ah, yes, basically, this is a very cute cover. So, yeah. I will be using this as just kind of like my daily journal. It's got a page a day. It's got the very beautiful Hobonichi aesthetic and Tomo River paper that I adore. But obviously it is A6, which is very different for me. If you watched any other videos on my channel, basically every other notebook I ever used was an A5. And I will still be using an A5 for other things. But for my daily journal, I have learned that I am an A6 girly. It was a surprise to me as well. I just find A5 very overwhelming for a daily journal, as it turns out. Meanwhile, the A6 size I find is basically just enough for me to write the events of my day. And sometimes it's still too much for me to write the events of my day. So now I just give myself permission to not fill a page, which is great and new for me. Again, if you watched my channel before, I used to be very keen on filling every page. But basically, the thing that has made me more consistent with a journaling habit is switching to A6 to have less space to begin with, and then just giving myself permission to not fill that space if I'm not feeling it that day. And that kind of daily journaling habit I kept up in 2025, Techo, for basically all of October, November, December of last year. I'm actually backfilling this. This is going to be like my record of 2025. Before I got this, was just using like all sorts of random notebooks to just write down what was happening in my life. No one real like cohesive system at that point. Another reason why I didn't make videos, because what do you even say about that? But I'm now going to go back and like get all those scraps together and backfill this. So it is my big record of 2025. For now, it is not full, but there are enough pages in here for me to show you kind of how I do my daily journaling these days and what that looks like for me. I'm going to move these out of the way to facilitate that because I am tight on space here. And my kitten has just walked into the tripod. Oh, Clara, what do you like? All right, so in this book, I'm just going to make sure that I get the right page here and not one that you don't want to see. Yeah, here we go. This is a good spread to start with. I have been doing a lot of like different page setups. So one thing I do is often, if there's like a big event on a day, I'll use the top bit with these little checkboxes just to write down what happened. Obviously, I didn't do that on this rather big day, but I did do it the day before. So yeah, this I just wrote, obviously, it was my wedding eve and my ADHD assessment. That's another thing that happened. I got diagnosed with ADHD, not a surprise, especially after the autism diagnosis, and they kind of come hand in hand in a lot of people. But pro tip, if you schedule an ADHD assessment, don't do it for the day before your wedding at 8 in the morning, because you will probably already be very stressed trying to like organize everything for the big day. And you just really don't need a whole other medical assessment the day before, especially when it is just a bit strange. My assessment process was weird. I feel like I'm going to make a whole video on this at some point because people found that helpful when I did it for my autism assessment. But yeah, it was a weird experience. I got a very strange doctor who almost like was really, what's the word? Like resentful that he had to diagnose me. It was really odd. Like I was very obviously exhibiting signs of ADHD, which he admitted, but he made me have a second appointment because he was like, oh, I just like don't really know if it's affecting your life enough for you to get a diagnosis, even though you hit all the criteria. And I was like, sir, we have literally just spent an hour on a Zoom call where I have gone through all the different ways that this is impacting my life. and you turn around and you say that. Anyway, it was weird and probably not the right vibes for like the day before my wedding. But I decided to document it because, of course, journal. And yeah, this is kind of an example of a page where it's mixed images and text. The image in question is the bouquet that I used for my wedding, which, well, I was going to say like me and my friends made. One of my friends made it. Maddie, shout out to you. Well, Jenny, actually, you also heavily contributed. I just kind of stood there and was like, okay, I don't really know how to arrange flowers, it turns out, which is great because I chose to make my own bouquet. But I think it turned out really well. Not thanks to me. I just kind of, supervised, shall we say. So yeah, I stuck a picture of that in, and then the rest of it is just text around the image. Here on the actual wedding day page, why did I forget the word for page there? The wedding day page, I went for just images because I wasn't really thinking about filling out my journal on my wedding day, if I'm being honest. So I didn't, and I just went back and put in a couple of photos of me and my husband, which is still really weird to say. I've called him fiancé for like 5 years, and then he was just my boyfriend for like 5 years before that. So yeah, still getting used to that. It was a great day. As you can see, it did rain, but it's England. So like, what do you expect? I'm taking it as good luck. But yeah, I sometimes do just this basically like a couple of photos with maybe a small caption for those days where like I don't have time to write a lot or I don't have a lot to write about, as we'll see in a future spread. I will say for my wedding, I did elsewhere just go back and write just like an account of the day that was very long, because that is like one case where I did want to record basically everything that happened, and you can't really do that on an A6 page. But I still really liked how this turned out. There are other times, as mentioned, where I really do just do only photos, and I'm just gonna move this out of the way again and make sure I get the right page, because another change I've made is I don't just write these pages with like YouTube in mind anymore. Before, I was getting very in my head about like what I could and couldn't show on YouTube, so I was trying to make like every journal page YouTube friendly, and it was like very stressful and a lot. But now I don't do that. I just write what I want to write, and that means that only some pages are for the internet, and most of them are just for me. But these are for the internet. Cats. Yay. This is Kitty, our older girl. She's about 10 now. She's very grumpy, but very chill at the same time. Like, she doesn't really cause too much trouble. She just lies around, kind of hisses at you if you try and pet her too often, but usually is just vibing pretty happily. Except, to be fair, here she's having an existential crisis. Yeah, same, honestly. And then here below her we have Clara, who is a black and white cat, as you can see. The little kind of thing on her nose there is not a wound or anything, it's gravy. She always has gravy on her nose. She is a very messy eater, and she is delightful. She is, the thing I say is like, Kittle is like my autism coded cat, and Clara is my ADHD coded cat. And she embodies that. She runs around all the time with more energy than I thought it was possible for a being to have, usually doing something mischievous. And on this spread, I chose to just, dedicate the whole thing to them. Because cats are very important, and they do deserve their own journal spreads. And yeah, on these 2 days, I figure like not much was really happening in my life, so there wasn't much to write about. And the way I chose to solve that was to post cat pictures in here. However, as mentioned, I don't force myself to fill out every page anymore. Sometimes I'll just leave them fully blank, but there are other times, like what I'm about to show you, where I want to record what happened, but I don't have the energy to do so at length. So this is representative of quite a big chunk of my October. I had that virus that YouTube doesn't like you saying the word of. I think it was my first time having it. I thought I'd had it a couple of times. I'd always tested negative, but I thought the tests were just broken. But no, I think that I actually just had colds, because this knocked me out for 2 weeks. I, as mentioned here, had to go to the hospital because they thought I had sepsis. Like, that's how unwell I was. I was not on this planet, not on this plane of existence for 2 weeks, and it sucked. So obviously I wasn't journaling. I wasn't really doing anything. I wasn't well enough to read. I wasn't well enough to like play video games. There was one day where I slept for 17 hours and I like could not wake up. It was awful. Like, I never want to go through that again. I also had this weird thing happen where, and actually as I wrote about on the next page I want to show you, my sense of taste didn't just like disappear. It also changed. So for a couple of weeks after I had the thing, my sense of taste was warped. So I would eat basically any food and it would taste like rotten flesh. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was disgusting. It was awful, like everything. You'd like put, I don't know, an apple and it would taste like garbage fruit. Like, it was horrific. And tea tasted like garbage water. I couldn't drink tea. It was, no, I never want to go through that again. Ever. It was awful. And thank goodness my taste did come back. Because if I'd have had to spend like the rest of my life with every food except like Flaming Hot Doritos tasting like garbage, I would have been a very sad person. But yay, I can eat foods again and drink tea, which I'm going to pause to do now actually. I haven't had any of this white tea yet. Review incoming, I guess. That is really nice. It's kind of like black tea, but just a bit more delicate. Very nice. And less caffeinated, which is good for evenings like this. Anyway, yeah, this is another page where I obviously didn't want to write like a full thing about the day, so I did a list. I did my intentions for that month, the first of which was to fully recover from that illness, and it did take me most of November, I'm not going to lie. Then we have meeting Frankie, who is my nephew, another big thing of the year. I became an auntie for the first time. He is a delight. He is a very, just like, stereotypically adorable baby. Like, not to insult some people's babies, but some babies, when they come out, they do look a bit like an alien. And people will show you, like, photos of them being like, oh, how cute is this baby? And you'll be like, yeah, really cute. But it does look a little bit alien-like. I looked like an alien when I was born, not gonna lie. But Frankie does not. He just looked like a fully beautiful, bouncing little boy from the minute of his birth. He's doing very well. So yeah, very excited. I'm going to see him again in 2 days. And then my third goal for that month was to finish Pokemon Legends ZA, which I thought was alright. You know, it wasn't my favourite Pokemon game that I've ever played. It's kind of lame that it was just within one city. You don't get a full region. But, you know, it was still fun. I had a good time and I did finish it, hence the tick. But yeah, that is just another way that I daily journal these days. Lists. They can be a really great way to record what's on your mind without having to do like a full paragraph page if you're just not feeling it that day. But there are some days when I am feeling writing, and that is the last kind of spread I want to show you. An example of a lot of writing. Here we are. And some lettering, actually. I was so mad that I did this quite nice hand lettering, I think, and then smudged it with blue ink. Like, why? But this is a time where, yeah, I just really wanted to write about the day. It was a nice day. Well, to be fair, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, so it didn't start nice, but then it got better. My husband and I met up with our friends at an Indian restaurant that we love, and then went back to their house and played card games, and it was fantastic. So I wanted to write all about that, and I filled the full page and even ran out of room a little bit there. That does happen very occasionally in A6, but not as often as I thought it would, which to me shows that this is kind of the perfect size for me, it turns out. But yeah, did a couple of like cute little bits of decor there, but on this page at least, text was the focus. On this page, the focus was Animal Crossing New Horizons, which I am once again obsessed with. I can't believe we're getting another update. Like, they really just, out of nowhere, they fed us. I'm so excited. So I've been kind of like getting back into the swing of things before the update comes out, and it's been amazing. Honestly, my Christmas break from work has mostly just been Animal Crossing. Yeah, and no regrets. None at all. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm using this. As a daily journal, but not necessarily just text. Some days are more image-based, and it makes it really fun to flip through because I do get like this really nice visual representation of what my life was like at this time. So, looking forward to using this again in 2026. Now, let's move on to the supplementary notebook I will be using. Ooh, this just barely fits in frame. It's a big, chunky cover. But yeah, first thing to note, the cover. I am so excited to be using this again. I love Animal Crossing, as we've just discussed. So when I found out that they'd done a collab with Hobonichi years ago, before I like knew Hobonichi even existed, I was kind of sad because I'm like, oh, would have loved to have got all of the stuff from that. But I found this on eBay and I snapped it right up and it's beautiful. Love it. Within this is a rhodia dot grid A5 notebook. I am using this as kind of like a media journal, like a fun stuff journal, basically just writing about hobbies and stuff. Like, I don't really know how else to describe it. Right now it is purely a media journal because I've only just started this, and I've been like lightly filling it with some of my media favourites from 2025. But yeah, the intention for this is just whenever I watch something or play something or read something that I enjoy, I'll write about it in here because I do like to remember what it is that I've been consuming in a particular year or time period. Like, this might last me a couple of years, to be honest, because I'm not as heavy a reader as I used to be. So yeah, I'll kind of show you the first page that I've done, which is the only page that I've done so far. Again, you'll see this is very visual. I'm leaning into the fact that I am quite a visual person, and my journals should probably reflect that. So yeah, it's almost like a scrapbooky style thing. This is a set of pages about a book that I read last year that I really enjoyed. The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. I really enjoyed her Winter Night trilogy as well. So when she wrote another book separate from that, I was like, yes, give that to me. It was set in World War I, which I knew about a fair bit just because I'd studied it at school and university. But like, I feel like it always hits me when I read about World War I, just how horrific it was. Like, obviously all wars are horrific, but World War I was just next level dreadful. Like, the mud, the trenches, the trench foot, they're just like relentless slaughter. Ugh, awful. But the book was beautiful. Tragic, as you might expect from something set in World War I, but beautiful. So I wrote my little review of it, but I also kind of pasted in some images and text that kind of like reminded me of the book. So here we have a picture of, I think it's called a pillbox, German pillbox after the Battle of Passchendaele, which is kind of when this is set. It's after that battle, and like the beginning part takes place in a pillbox. So I was like, gotta get that in there. There is a fiddler here. One of the main characters is a mysterious fiddler. So I figured put him in. And then the last stanza of Dulce et decorum est pro patria more, a very famous war poem by Wilfred Owen, which is about World War One, and yeah, just encapsulates, I think, the horror of war and how it was sold as this like glorious thing to take part in, but it wasn't, and it isn't still. But you know, some of us in the world haven't grasped that, apparently. Anyway, yeah, I decided to just do this kind of like scrapbooky style review of it. I did the same thing for a movie that I watched last year, Howl's Moving Castle. My first Studio Ghibli movie. Somehow, I just totally missed Studio Ghibli growing up. Like, I remember seeing trailers for some of the films, but I just never actually watched any. And when my colleagues found out about this, there was uproar. They were outraged. So I have started watching them, and it's great. Howl's Moving Castle was beautiful, whimsical, melancholy, as I've written here. It just made me feel things. It just made me feel a lot of things. It was also very anti-war messaging, which I only realised afterwards, like how well these two pieces of media like work together as a spread because of like the war themes in both. But yeah, it was great. Really loved Calcifer, this little fiery dude down here, and also Turnip Head, who what a boingy legend Turnip Head is. I will also say I have since watched Spirited Away as well, and love that. I haven't got around to doing a spread about it yet, but I will be, because Spirited Away also got me in my feels. But yeah, throughout the year I'm hoping to keep updating this with just the various things I've been reading and consuming. I've actually stuck the art down for my next page. Haven't written the review in yet. Green Dot by Madeline Gray, which I read simply because I saw the cover in, where was it? Edinburgh train station. I was coming back from holiday and I was like, that's a cool cover of a book. I have no idea what this is about, but I kind of want to read it. So I then got it on Kindle and I did enjoy it. It's about a doomed affair between an older man and one of his younger colleagues, and it just screamed Illicit Affairs by Taylor Swift. It was basically like an Australian Fleabag situation. So I really enjoyed it, but in the way that you like enjoy that kind of car crash fiction where the protagonist is just making extremely poor, ill-advised choices throughout, but the way it was written was just so full of humour that I kept going anyway, even though I was like, oh god, like, why are you doing this? Like, it felt like reading Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. Like, that just like, ugh, cringe, like, ugh. But you also can't stop reading. So yeah, I am looking forward to writing about that in here. And I'm looking forward to filling all of these pages. I honestly was going to go for a Leuchtturm. Oh, I always forget how to pronounce it. One of them, A5 dot grid, which I know and love, but I am finding them increasingly difficult to get hold of in the UK. I don't know if I'm just looking in the wrong places, but yeah, it feels like they only have them in like really weird, hyper-specific setups that just are never what I'm looking for. Like, they'll have the soft cover, but I really love hardcover. Or they'll have it in lined, but not in dot grid. Anyone else in the UK, have you been experiencing this? Like, is this a me thing? Where have all the Leuchtturms gone? Is this because of Brexit? Like, what's happening? I'm so sad. But I will say this rhodia book has turned out to be really, really lovely. The paper is so smooth. Clairefontaine. Fountain pen friendly paper. Not fountain paper. So yeah, you know, I am very happy with this, and I probably will get another one. But yeah, that was just very weird and disappointing that I struggled to find that. So yeah, that's what I'm journaling in this year. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck back into my more creative hobbies, because last year I just didn't do that. I'm very excited to be back doing this. I forgot just like how much happier and lighter like this kind of creativity makes me feel. I feel great. I really hope you enjoyed this video too. I really enjoyed making it. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video, whenever that may be. And I hope you're all having a great start of 2026 so far. Admittedly, I'm filming this literally on January 1st. So hope you've had a good one day of 2026. And I'll see you in the next one.